tonight's meeting, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and move on to the second part of our business, which is to approve tonight's agenda. Motion by Mary, a second by Blake. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Move on to item number 3, which is to approve the consent calendar, the minutes of last meeting, and the payment of bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion by John, second by Doug.
Gotta be on this one.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. That brings us to item number 4. We will open a public hearing for the purpose of going over the 2024 final budget and property tax levy.
See if I can figure out how to make this work here. All right, I think I got it. So just those of you that have been on the council for a while, you're kind of familiar with this layout, but just wanted to kind of go through some of the highlights of the proposed final 2024 budget. Talk a little bit about the property tax process. You recall when Chris Odden was here, he talked about this as well. I won't go into that kind of detail, but just do a high-level look at that, projected tax rate for the city of Staples, the tax capacity increase, operating cost changes, and other one-time budget items. So the property tax process, it's admittedly confusing if you don't deal with it all the time, because you have multiple players. There's a lot of different timing related to certain items. In the spring you get your proposed valuation statement. There's the Board of Adjustment that happens also in the spring. Then you don't see anything for a long time, and then in the summer, the city, and I'll talk about just the city, but the city starts working on the proposed budget, the preliminary budget for the following year. And by the end of September, the city has to set, their proposed tax levy, preliminary tax levy, and budget. And then that goes back, gets sent back into the county. The county sends that out, with the preliminary tax levy statements. That so if you're a typical homeowner, you're gonna have line items. You'll see what last year's what next year's proposed is. You're going to be looking at county, city, school district. Region 5 has a small little bit of levy on there, and then typically your solid waste fee is shown on there as well. And then so on that preliminary tax levy statement, it lists tonight as the truth and taxation hearing. So opportunity for people to come and ask questions about the budget. It's not, over the years we've had people that come and their issue is their valuation. If a valuation, of their house or their business or an empty lot or whatever went way up, and as a result the taxes increased, we can't do anything about valuation. The only thing that we can do as a city is to establish the dollar amount that we propose to utilize for operating the city for the upcoming year. Tax rate, net tax capacity, class rates, all of that kind of stuff is either state or county that determines what those things are. So it is, it is a confusing process. There's also a lag that goes into that, where over the last I'll say 3 or 4 years, we've seen valuations of properties climb, and as Chris was indicating when he was here at the council meeting, they're required to base those values on market sales that have taken place within certain jurisdictions within that county over, kind of looking back at sales that have happened. And so that doesn't actually come and hit your, it takes a while before those sales actually impact the valuation that you're dealing with. And so, and likewise, on the way down, it does too. So if the housing market slows down and people start reducing the asking price of the house that they're trying to sell, and so all of a sudden sales are taking place that are below what the county has listed as the market value of the properties, that's, when those taxable market values start to decrease as well. So, it goes up and down, but it's not an instantaneous type of thing, so. Proposed tax rate, this little table here has quite a bit of information. Net tax capacity, that's basically your market value times your class rate, the aggregate of all of the properties within the city. And you can see what it was in 22, 23, and what it's gonna be here in 2024. So there's been almost a 30% increase in that next net tax capacity from paid 23 into 24. The tax levy, your net tax capacity and your tax levy are what's used to calculate what that tax rate is. So if your tax capacity is going up, your levy is relatively flat, your rate is going to go down. It's all, it's just a formula. So the proposed final budget that we have for 2024 is a 2.5% increase over what we had in 2023. To put that into perspective, that's $26,800 difference. Last year, you can see on here, we basically had a 0% levy increase. So I think when you look over time, that's been a pretty low number. Just a graph form looking back to 2018 as far as what the city tax rate has been. So this, there's a couple of side-by-side properties here, one in Wadena County, one in Todd County. I wish my cursor, it does show up there. Both houses with $120,000 estimated value in 2023. We see that in Wadena County, that same house would be valued at $156,000 for 2024, so a 30% increase there. As homestead or residential properties increase in value, the market value exclusion decreases. It's basically a sliding scale. As the property becomes worth more, the exclusion goes down. So you can see what, that 3,240 is the decrease in that market value exclusion. So your median taxable value was at $93,560. In 2024, it'll be at $132,800. That's a $39,240 increase as far as the taxable value. So hop down to the, to the table down here as far as what the actual tax impact is. Homestead residential has a 1% class rate, so you see 936 instead of, it's just rounded from that 93,560. So that tax capacity went 936 up to 1328 or 392. Tax rate, again, as we showed on the graph before that, for 24 is going down to 49.6, which is about a 20% decrease. The city portion of the property tax on that property in 23 was $585. 24 would be $659, or a $74 increase. And I'm going to just hop down to the next slide here. So keeping that Wadena County property in mind, This is basically if there was not a 2%, if it was a 0% levy increase. Same property, same layout here. That city portion of the property tax would go up $58 versus 74. So you're looking at 16 bucks if I'm doing that math right. So that's what the 2.5% levy increase amounts to on that now $156,000 home in Wadena County. So let's look over at the right-hand column. This is Todd County. Same house that was valued at $120,000 last year. Todd County basically is at a 43% increase. So instead of 120, it's now at 171.6 as far as what the value is. We talked about the homestead exclusion going down as the value goes up. So you see that exclusion actually in Todd County goes down $4,600, leaving you with that median taxable value increasing by $56,000. The residential tax impact on that, as we talked, $158, on that property that's now valued at $171. No increase, it's $140. So again, that 2.5% levy is 18 bucks on that property. So other revenue changes for 2024, we've talked about the LGA increase that the legislature put in place. We've got $100,000 of American Recovery Plan dollars, and that was basically money to offset lost revenue during COVID that was sent out to governmental units. The 66,698 Small Cities Assistance, that's basically the street tarring. Over the last few years, we've had a couple of small shots of Small Cities Assistance, but it has not been something that's ongoing. At least for the time being, this is an ongoing funding source that will be coming in to help us do street maintenance. Then the public safety aid, we've got $129,396 that we will be getting. I don't think we've got that yet, have we? No. We talked about that. We've put that into the budget, but then transferred it, basically 97,000, some of it, into reserves for future use. Where's the money go? What happened with the additional dollars? Basically salary and wage increase. We did increase to the police department budget. We talked about that increase to the base plus cost of living increase. Had a 4.4% increase in health insurance. These next three items, basically everything costs more than it did last year or the year before. It costs more to have our audit done, city attorneys, any kind of professional services, costs more than it used to. Supplies, utilities, we're seeing increases basically in all of that, just like everybody is in their own personal life. Something that we have in here, obviously we've got elections coming up in 2024. So you'll see, and I'm sure you've looked at the budget, I think we've got 15.5 budgeted for elections. Last year it was $750. So that's a chunk of where that increased levy goes. Other one-time proposals that are in the budget for 2024, basically storm shelter out at Dower Lake. We've got money budgeted for painting and carpet here in the PD. We've been putting money away for that for a while. Squad radar, squad computer, the panic button, less lethal launchers for a total of $25,750 within the police budget. New roof for the pavilion out at Dower, playground equipment for Wilson Park. A year ago or a year and a half ago, as everybody's aware, we did Lincoln and Dower playground equipment. Starting, and we talked about this with the capital improvement plan, starting to put money away on an annual basis to replace picnic tables, garbage cans in all of our parks. Mobile radios for the fire. Street shop, within the street fund, we've got a generator, I think is 10,000, street lights, Christmas lights for the streets, 2,000, and the turbo melt and salt totaling 16. Community center renovations, we've got $1 million in there, which is basically a kind of a placeholder. But we are, I think the question was asked when we were talking about the budget at some point, one of the many times we talked about this fall about, community center. The sales tax revenue is actually coming in above what we were estimating early on. So we'll see if that continues, but we'll get a good handle on where that's at and what it's predicted to be before we pull the trigger on anything major there. And with that, I'm open to any questions that people have on the budget and public hearing if there's any members of the public that want to comment. And we can go into as much detail on the budget as you'd like.
Anyone have any questions? If not, we would close the public hearing. And move on to item number 5. Consider adopting resolution 1920, 2024 property tax levy. Motion by Mary,
I'll second it.
second by Roy. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, we'll move on to item number 6. Consider approval of the 2024 budget.
So moved.
A motion by Roy,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And I would like to express my thanks to Tara and Gerald for all the hard work you've put in. Our initial levy was much higher, got it down to a little over 2%. And I appreciate all the work.
All right, we'll move on to item number 7. Consider the approval of 2024 part-time and seasonal staff wages.
On page 51 of your packet, we've got our usual little scale that we've got there. So basically what we did was a 4% on these, with the exception of 2 items, part-time park ranger and our seasonal mowers. We increased a little bit more, hoping to attract people to those positions. So part-time park rangers will be starting at 15, same as the mowers. So with that, I would recommend approval of the part-time and seasonal staff wages for 2024.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Roy, second by John. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on to item number 8. Consider approval of resolution 1921 fee schedule for 2024.
All right. I gotta get the right packet here. Here, I highlight the things that had changed. My other one I was using here did not have that. So, resolution 1921 in your packet. You've seen we've got basically the same layout that we've had in the past, with 23 laying alongside 24. And basically when Tara highlighted the items that are proposed to change. So if they're not highlighted, we're recommending that they be the same as they were last year. So the NSF fee for bad checks, proposing to increase that by $5 up to 30. The 40-foot hanger and 45-foot hanger rentals by $10 per month out at the airport. Water and sewer connection fee of $100 up from the 40. 24/7 access up to 25, 10, and 20 on the next page there for the community center. Parent-child, preschool, and level 1 through 6 swimming lessons, increase those up to $70 a student. Lifeguard training certification up to 100. The Pine Grove Lions Shelter, actually decreasing that to $20 a day. And seasonal campsites, I think we talked about this with the addition of the Wi-Fi out there to roll that in. And so we went from 1,800 up to 2,000 per season. Some equipment increases on the following page. I believe those follow the FEMA schedule that we have available to us. Solid waste haulers, increase of $25 up to $200 a year. Tobacco license up to $125, $50 and $200 for the 3.2 malt liquor and the intoxicating off sale. Those are the proposed changes that we have in here.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mary, second by Mary Jo. Any discussion?
Do we need to update the date on the bottom and the mayor on there?
I was just noticing that.
It says, still says Chris Etzler mayor and the
Good
date,
catch.
the date of 22nd, or December 2022 on there.
Hopefully I changed it on the actual one. I did, so.
Good catch.
I didn't sign this.
Right?
I didn't even notice that.
Obviously.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll go on to item number 9, which is to consider the approval of solid waste haulers licenses for 2024.
What's the rate for that?
We just approved it going up
I know we just went over it, I just.
200 a year.
So on,
It's pretty cheap.
sorry,
Pretty cheap, yeah, since they tear apart.
what's that?
Tear apart apples.
We've been kind of starting, every year increasing that, but I think, it's still lower, but it's more than $3 or whatever it was,
Yeah.
not too many years ago. So garbage haulers are on page 66 in your packet, same 3 that we've had.
Don't move.
Motion by Roy,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 10. Consider approval of pawnbroker's license for 2024.
Page, they're out of order here, but the next page in your packet,
63.
63. My next one says 62. but
Oh,
I'm going on an old
I
back,
gotta
so
magnify.
apologize for
Maybe
that.
68.
Yeah,
Maybe it's 68.
68. There we go. Pawnbroker's license, just the one like new pawn. So, same one we've had.
And there wasn't a change on that one, correct? I think it was 250 and it was still,
Oh, and the fee, I don't think so, no.
yeah, pawn shop, 250 a year.
Yeah. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mary, second by Blake. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Right. Move on to item number 11, consider approval of tobacco licenses for 2024.
So, on the list there, I think we got 9. Yep, 9, that are all existing tobacco license holders for renewal.
And then, there's 10 on here.
Oh, 10, I'm sorry, yep, you got the new one. I can't count.
That's Staples Tobacco Shop, that's what its name is.
62.
Yep, so license 262.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the tobacco licenses as listed.
Second.
A motion by John, second by Mary Jo. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carried. That brings us to item number 12. Consider approval of resolution 1922, voting operations, technology, and election resources, account agreement with Todd County.
I'll try to explain this with a straight face the whole time. So, as the first whereas says, the state of Minnesota did approve money to help local jurisdictions with the costs of elections at the tune of $1.25 million. Todd County share of that is $6,924, and the city of Staples share is $141.16. So,
That's moving pretty fast.
yeah, we have, in order to get that windfall, we need to approve resolution 1922, which I would recommend you do.
Does it come all in one check then?
No, I don't know.
I'll move the big dollar amount.
I'll second.
Motion by Mary, second by John. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
The number sounds a lot more impressive when you talk about the state total, but by the time it drifts its way down, so.
So Hennepin County and this,
City, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
or the city of
And
Minneapolis.
of the amount that I shouldn't joke about it, but of the amount that Todd County gets, they keep a good chunk of that because they handle all the absentee and mail-in and do all of our poll pad stuff, so it will be a benefit locally.
But that still doesn't begin to cover those costs for them. It's a help.
All right, we'll move on to committee reports, and we'll start with the first committee, Staples Economic Development Authority.
Hello. We met on November 28th. The first item on the agenda was to approve the September minutes. We did not meet in October. Next on the agenda, we covered all of our leases for the industrial buildings. So we renewed leases with all 4, Voyager, Acura, Stacker, and Lakewood. You'll see there's 5 on here. Acura rents 600 square feet and Unit C as well as their Unit B. They're all except for Stacker at the maximum, so everything stayed the same otherwise. We talked about the downtown revitalization and Blanding grant. The committees have been working on them, on kind of new projects to get on the list of projects. Those are all need to be submitted by December 31st to have allocated dollars. They can be completed in '24, sometime before October. However, they have to be allocated out. There's a little bit of flex there, but not a whole lot into January. So you'll see projects happening over the spring and summertime, but dollars sitting there waiting for those projects. Things will be on order and that kind of stuff. Small Cities Program, I actually just received a huge email that I haven't been able to dig all the way through today from our consultant, but there'll be some signatures and some more adoptions of stuff. We're still looking at that spring date, so that's good, that early spring. And one of the cool things is, I'm not sure if I mentioned it to the whole council here, the Douglas County HRA has funds through USDA that we can stack or layer on projects with the Small Cities Deed Program that we have been approved for. So we can help, for those projects that do qualify for their funding as well, we can layer those and help them get bigger projects done. So that's kind of exciting as well. More to come as that relationship progresses and details kind of get figured out there. We did our regular discussion, kind of standing agenda items. We talk about the progress of the developments that are going on and housing in general. Those haven't changed a whole lot. You can see the progress as you drive around just as well as everybody else. But if you have any specific questions, you can let me know. The one I'll pull up is Farmers Union. They are looking at spring to kind of start prepping the ground. I did just get an update this week that the modules that they ordered for CLC will be there early spring, by April it sounds like. And then in the meantime, they'll be working on the ones for the industrial park as well for that site. So that will be happening this spring, early summer. And then I just shared some of the activities. Thank you, Ron, for making it to the legislative discussion in Wadena. We also had a few other representatives from Lakewood and others in the community that attended that. It was great discussion, some new information that came out, and a good opportunity to meet those legislators. And then I wanted to highlight that our next tour for the EDA tours is on Monday, December 18th at 1 p.m. We'll be touring the plaza. So we'll meet out in the parking lot at the plaza. And then we talked a little bit about the Chamber and Discover Staples. One of the highlights is the Chamber hosted the free Thanksgiving meal again this year. There was 200 people that came. Again, thank you to those who were able to get out and volunteer, or if you were able to come and enjoy a meal. That's all funded through the community. We are doing it on Christmas Day as well. So volunteers for Christmas meals would be great as well. If not, if you're looking for a meal that day, come out and join them as well. They are intended to be dine-in unless there's some reason why they would be takeout, so they get delivered to Lakewood House System. And there's some Meals on Wheels people that they will get delivered to make sure everybody has a warm meal on Christmas Day. Otherwise, City of Staples is working on their contracts in the '24 budget. We will be needing to renew the contract with LEAP from the city, and then the LEAP is renewing contracts with their consultant, and then so we got kind of a lot of that paperwork stuff going on, but you'll get an update from Discover Staples and a contract renewal with LEAP coming up here too. That is all I have, unless you have questions.
You may have shared this with us, I can't remember, but the timing of the small city stuff is going to be in the spring,
Yep, early spring.
early spring, and that will be when they will send out applications. They'll send out.
So what we'll be doing to make sure everybody has a fair opportunity to get this application at the same time, because there is so much demand right now in Staples for it, or we're seeing a lot of interest and demand, just to make sure nobody's getting kind of an early application slid their way and somebody else doesn't get that opportunity. We'll be hosting a in-person meeting, information session, so that people know what it's all about. At that point, that date is when we will release the applications. You don't have to be in person to get one, you can get them, but at that time is when people will be able to have access to them. We have had tons of people calling, asking questions, wanting to be prepared for when those applications are available. And between myself and our consultant, there's a lot of interest, so I think we'll zip right through all those dollars and hopefully go back for some more soon after, so.
Thank you. Any other questions for Melissa? If not, we'll move on to the Public Works Commission. Scott?
Public Works Commission met today, presented them with the snowplow policy. It's just a general policy about what streets are plowed first. We leave it vague so the operators can react to different situations and things like that, so they're not restricted by too tight of a policy. And then there's also a policy that the police use if, when they're on call during the early mornings, they'll notify our plow drivers if the snow reaches 2 inches. We got called the week before last about a sewer pipe. There was a backup and the homeowner hired a contractor to dig it up, and when they got out into the right of way, they noticed that there was 3 electric pipes bored right through the sewer pipe. So this is an old project that was done I think in 2018, but that house had sat vacant for that long, so they did call me right away. I was able to get over there and get a picture and then authorize that contractor on site to work with our staff and get it fixed. So the repair has been made, but it will become the city's bill.
You couldn't hit it better if you tried it.
No. It was a case of a sewer service that was actually really shallow for some reason. And now I can't tell you if it was located or anything like that, but just, 1 in a million kind of shots, so.
Where was that at?
617 3rd Street Northeast, so it's kind of over by the school. We had done a project, like I said, I think it was in 18 when that was bored. We did some underground there, and
That was that new line up to the elementary school.
right,
Wasn't it?
yeah, it's a looping, we're working on some looping.
Okay.
Yeah, just really bad luck. As we talked about before in Public Works and in the council meeting, Missouri River is gonna raise the rates. When we look at how the rates are allocated and based off of our recent usage, I think it's gonna cost the city about $50,000. Just remember that we have received some rate decreases and then some rebates in the past, so we'll be able to absorb this, but we are still in the process of a rate study. We're just waiting for some more numbers to come back, and we'll have some more recommendations, but I don't see this as gonna be it's not gonna be a big burden on residents. The one action item we have is WAPA, who provides us with 23% of our power. They've updated their service contract they've just updated a couple of exhibits. There's not much here, however, it is something that needs to be approved. Missouri River, their legal staff, I had a meeting with them. They do this with all the cities that have to go through this updating of these exhibits, and they approved approving it. There's nothing unusual here, but we can go through a little bit of it. In Exhibit B is mostly just some adding of words. If you go like down to number 2, they add as of the date of Exhibit B, Staples is receiving firm electric service. So you can see in the red lines, those are things that have been added. So there's nothing real significant as far as changes to Exhibit B. Exhibit C is well, actually, let's go back to Exhibit B and on point 5. You can see what our allocation from WAPA is. That WAPA is Western Area Power Association, and they provide us with hydropower. It's cheaper than what we get from Missouri River. So that the power that you can see that in this exhibit there is what we get from them. And anyway, a couple of the other updates are that we can now use digital signatures, which is the norm, and things like that. Exhibit C, it just has there's a lot more red line here, but it's based on one weird caveat that came up, and it's just that SPP, which is the Southwest Power Pool, is a transmission operator. We don't normally, we're not affiliated with them. We're affiliated with MISO, does the same thing. They're just a neighbor. However, part of our transmission from WAPA goes through part of SPP. Now, they came on new this year, so then this thing had to be updated. So part of this deal is that if there was a case where SPP no longer did that, then we would be responsible for finding a way to get the transmission all the way here. Missouri River does not see that as a concern, not to mention that they would jump in and help us anyway. It's just getting some legal stuff out of the way. So with that, if there's any questions, I would try to answer them. But otherwise, the commission recommends approval of updating these two exhibits, and we'll ask the council to do the same.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Roy, second by Mary. Is there any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you. We had our water node project in November. We feel like that went really well. We've got 260 nodes that we're reading now. And we were able to do some experimenting on the north side. On the north side, north of Warner Road, we don't have electric. So a water node needs an electric meter to travel back to where we read, which is City Hall. Without the electric meters, then we need to put relays up. And we worked with Todd Wadena to attach some on the light poles, and those relays are working. So we have a good number that are reporting, and we have about 20 that are not, which we expected to have a significant number because some of this was experimenting, and just sometimes you attach things and with technology it doesn't work like you want. But we're happy with the overall number, and we're happy with the way that the project went overall. And then also thanks to our water department and our light department they were really hustling that week while those guys were there to keep up with them, and actually did get a comment from HydroCorp, the contractor, that said that it was really easy working with our guys, that they were really helpful and reactive when they needed something. So I want to thank those guys. And then we had in October, we had a water tower inspection, and this is a normal thing that we do about every 5 years. And the inspection results came back really good. Coatings on the inside and the outside of the tower are in very good shape. A little bit of pitting, which is to be expected. Structurally, it's very strong. And they made a few recommendations, one being like a vent and another one being a screen. However, none of the violations that I shouldn't say violations, the recommendations that they made, none of those are in violation of anything, any safety rules or anything like that. So their overall recommendation is that we don't do anything until they come back and inspect it 5 years from now. And perhaps they may have some recommendations then, but as of now, there's nothing for us to do. And then I did get a cost summary for the readjustment of the water and sewer projects like we talked about over on Second Street by the school and then also on Fourth Street. We haven't had time to dig into this too deep yet, so as I told the commission, just wanted to let them be aware. And I think we'll almost certainly do something behind the school. On the south side, you know, their summary came back with doing the whole 2 blocks, but would leave us on the hook for paying for the entire sewer portion of that project. So we may want to consider just digging down to the worst part of the sewer to buy us some time until we can get those projects funded. So we'll probably have a recommendation next month, though. And then I want to let you guys know that Bruce Grundle is retiring. I believe that you all got an email that there will be a little reception for him at Timbers. Bruce worked here for 40 years, and he was a really dedicated employee. He was always, in my short time that I got to work with him, always quick to answer his phone and react to what you asked him to do, and then also really had a good sense of humor and kept the guys on their toes. So I know they'll miss him, and so will we. So, but we hope that you guys will be able to congratulate him on a long career on the 29th. That's all I got.
All right. Any questions for Scott? All right, move on to the next item, which is the open forum.
I got one thing.
Okay.
Are the approaches to the alley, are they the responsibility of the homeowners, or are they, the property owners, or is that? I noticed around my place anyway, and when we walked this summer, quite a few of the concrete approaches are getting broken up and looking in pretty rough shape. And I guess, and I think a contributing factor is the number of garbage trucks that traverse those alleys that, and I know in my alley, there's only one garbage company that services everyone in that alley. But I know Long Prairie Sanitation goes through my alley 3 or 4 times on Tuesdays. And they have no pickup in that alley. And I think, maybe if we tried to divert some of that so that they use the street rather than the alley to go around, I realize it takes a little more time. But it's kind of annoying too, to have that much truck traffic going through there. And it's hard on the alleys. They're really not equipped for that kind of weight.
Are they picking up garbage on the alleys on either side of that property, and that's why they're cutting through there, or what?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
But they're back and forth.
yeah.
The people that service our alley, they also serve the one on either side. I mean, they make, on garbage day, they make 1 pass. On recycle, they make 2 passes. But the Long Prairie Sanitation, they're through there 3 or 4 times, depending on, I don't know what they, why they are doing that, but it's gone on for, I think we've had a discussion about that before in the past, but it kind of got better for a while, so I don't know if you called or not, but I don't see a reason for it at all, but like I said, the approaches, the one on the property that I own to the east of me, that approach is really bad on the south end. On the one on the south end and where I live, that's starting to crack up now too, so.
Just so, you're talking about like if you had a garage or a shed that's up against the alley or are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about the ends of the alley.
The alley entrance from the street?
Right.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
right. And that's, the one on the property to the east of me, between First and Second Southwest, that one is on the south end is getting that's really broken up. And there's there's no houses, there's nobody, I don't think anybody puts their garbage out there even, but the approach is getting really bad, and it's, I just think we could save some wear and tear maybe if we had a discussion with the garbage haulers, if they don't have, you know, collect in that alley, then they might, you know, but I have no idea why they go through there 3 and 4 times. But that's gone on for a long time.
Yeah, I think the first step, I guess, would be to call and just ask them to, you know, for the courtesy of going around. You know.
Right, yeah. I mean, I realize it's a little bit of a burden for them, but, you know, the alleys take a beating from
Yeah.
that.
Assuming they use the booms to dump,
Right,
and that's on one side of the truck, so I'm sure areas, if people have garbage cans on both sides, they probably
Right.
don't come back to do that. Right.
Anything else for open forum?
Got the lights,
yeah.
behind, you know, behind the community center and the school. There's a lot of street lights all the way from like where the smoke shop is, and none of them are operating at night. I go to a lot of, you know, wrestling matches and, you know, whatever. Kids always have something going on. And half the time you see people out there with their phones trying to find their way to their vehicle, and you look and there's street lights all over the place that are, you know, the community center has one security light out the back
Yep.
that is on sometimes, and that's brilliantly bright, but that's not always on. And I mean, it is pitch black.
Sure.
Back there. Is it something to do with the construction that they're not?
I'm not sure, but I'll have our guys go look at it. And we had looked at that once before, so.
Okay, it's all the way, I mean, there's, you know, I would say at least 6 to 10, you know, full-size streetlights that aren't operating, and it's unusual to see when you have 300 people barreling out of the gymnasium and they're all using their phone to try to walk, you know, so.
Are you talking, you're talking between the school and the community center or in?
Yeah, when you come out of the gymnasium, you know, you look towards Burger King and stuff, and there's several there that aren't functioning. And then there's several over towards the community center that aren't on either.
Third, right? You're thinking mostly third?
Yeah, sure.
Come up the overpass. This is how I describe
Yeah,
things.
right, yeah,
Third, the
yeah.
third extreme.
Yeah, because everybody parks back behind, like outside the
Yeah.
lunchroom doors right there, and it's just, I mean, it's just black back there.
Right there, and then as you come
Yep.
down out to Third Street, which is the.
Yeah, yep, and kind of behind Burger King and stuff, and you look towards that way, and it's really dark, and I just, and I didn't, you know, so a couple people asked me, and I said, it may be something to do with the construction or something.
Do you ever see them on and then off? Because we've had an issue on Second Avenue where we think headlights are tricking one of our
Oh.
photo cells.
Yeah, I haven't seen that part of it. You know, maybe it's got something to do with that light at the community center, if they turn that off. Yeah, I have no clue. I don't have a,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, and it could just be that perhaps it's a entire circuit or something, like a
Yeah.
relay or something like that could be a simple fix, but yeah, we'll look into it.
yeah, awesome, thanks.
Anything else? Move to city administrator's report.
Just a couple of quick items. Went to the tree lighting, that the downtown revitalization historical society put on. I don't know if you were there, but nice event. Breeze could have been down just a little bit, maybe a little more comfortable out there, but it was not the Chevy Chase moment, and the tree did light first attempt, so good. I want to thank those folks for volunteering to put that on. Just want to thank staff as we've gone, you know, this budget process is about a 5.5 month process for staff. Tara is so tired of me coming into her office and saying, I got one thing, and then she has to change everything. So, but I want to thank her department heads for working on that. I think we got a good budget going into 2024. Our next meeting is December 26th. I wish I was going to tell you that we should think about not having that, but we do have some stuff that we have to take care of on the 26th. So, our personnel policy, got some updates on that, with some of the new legislation. And, I believe we'll have a AFSCME labor agreement, for the council's consideration at that time. So that will be on Tuesday, the 26th. Just a reminder, committee assignments, we'll be looking at that, first meeting in January. You know, so if you're, dying to be on, planning and zoning or, some other committee or don't want to be on that committee, whatever, think about it, let us know. And I believe that is all I have, so I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you
I move that
shortly after that.
we adjourn.
Second by John, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Being adjourned.
All right.